Hola, buenos días. Vamos a... Voy a ver si... Hola, buenos días. Gracias por estar aquí en este diálogo de paz y justicia. Vamos a iniciar nuestra jornada con una canción que nos conecta con las luchas de los pueblos, particularmente los que se van al norte de México. Soy Rosy Zúñiga, integrante de CEAL y también del Consejo Internacional y también de la Asamblea Social Mundial de Luchas y Resistencias, que somos quienes estamos convocando a este diálogo, a este webinar de cara a la Asamblea Social Mundial de Luchas y Resistencias en Kathmandú. Voy a pedirles a todos los que están aquí presentes que mientras no estén hablando, apaguen su micrófono para que mejore el audio de todas y todos. De preferencia, utilicen audífono con micrófonos. Thor, creo que tienes tu micrófono abierto. ¿Puedes cerrarlo por ahora? Bueno, vamos a compartirles este video para iniciar y pues sean todas y todos bienvenidos mientras vamos aquí esperando a que lleguen todas las que nos faltan. Buena jornada para todos.
Hola, les saluda Omar León de los Jornaleros del Norte. Quiero mandar un saludo al Festival por la Dignidad de los Pueblos. Gracias por tomarnos en cuenta para ser parte de tan bonito festival. Los Jornaleros del Norte somos un grupo que por más de 20 años nos hemos dedicado a cantarle al inmigrante, a la trabajadora, al trabajador. Hemos participado en miles de marchas, protestas, huelgas para levantar la imagen del jornalero, del inmigrante, de esa gente que lucha para salir adelante y sacar adelante sus familias. Todas nuestras canciones hablan y honran al trabajador y a la trabajadora y sus contribuciones. Esperamos que nuestro video sea de su agrado. Los jornaleros del norte siempre presentes en la lucha.
Ando con mi ropa sucia porque voy a trabajar. Todos los días me levanto bien temprano a jornalear. Como todo ser humano con virtudes y defectos, trato de ser el primero, también trato de ser correcto. Me acuse de cochino, el cochino es usted. Y no se atreva a negarlo, bien lo sabe su merced. Juanita, cochino sigue siendo, porque se tenía que quitar el bocabal que estaba viendo. A mi señor politiquero, el actor a gobernador, sigue terminando con racismo al trabajador. Todas esas ideas que usted tiene en su cabeza, gente Manuel, mejor tome una cerveza. ¡Ah, pues! Mírese en un espejo y mira bien su corazón. La vara con que usted mire nunca le dará perdón. Aunque yo venga del campo, orgulloso yo me siento. Y aunque de corbatado, marramito sigue siendo. La acuse de cochino, el cochino es usted. Y no se atreva a negarlo, que no sabe su merced. Lo que con su ropa vida, continúa lo sigue haciendo, y que se dejen quitar de enfocando al que está batiendo. Mi señor politiquero, que el actual gobernador, terminando con racismo al trabajador. Todas esas ideas que usted tiene en su cabeza, que no invente más leyes, mejor tome otra cerveza.
Buenas tardes.
Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Y llegaron. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero. Por eso que yo soy jornalero, yo no puedo ser politiquero.
Bravo, muchas gracias.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Empezamos con los jornaleros del norte, que son compañeros trabajadores y trabajadoras que están en el corazón del imperio, luchando por la vida digna. Bueno, le dejo la coordinación, la moderación a Thor. Thor, no sé si puedes abrir tu micrófono. Thor, abre tu micrófono. Ok. Y tu cámara.
Hello. Here I am. I'm sorry that I had some problems with the connection with the internet, so now I'm on my mobile. You are most welcome to this meeting, which is a meeting and not a webinar, where we are able to discuss the issues of how we can use this coming World Social Forum to bring together more unity among movements and discuss the possibilities of having a declaration called Build Peace and Justice Now. We have had invited especially 3 people, and I have seen Vasna Ramasar so far. I have phoned the contacts I have here with the Small Farmers Union, and they said there should turn up, but I'm on my mobile not able to really see if that is the case.
Perdón, permítame. Le voy a pedir, le voy a pedir a la compañera que está haciendo francés-español si se va a la cabina de francés, porque está saliendo lo de francés en español. Gracias. Adelante, Thor. Adelante, Thor.
Am I not speaking? Oh.
We can hear you. It's okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little bit confused because I normally do this thing from my stationary computer, and as the connections are bad here. I had to use as plan B this mobile. So the idea is that we have free introductions and then simply a free discussion where everyone can join. As you have seen, we have interpreters. So people like me have to really start to discipline ourselves and talk slowly. This is a fantastic possibility that Rosie has able to us through a lot. So here we are, and the starting point is if Keshab is Pramesh here, or should someone else from your All Nepal Peasant Federation maybe start to say some words from your perspective of what you see the possibilities with this World Social Forum and the need for building alliances? Oh, Keshab says they are not hearing me. How come that Vasna hears me? Keshab, yeah, as we all know, it is important with the technical things in these Zoom words. So we should maybe find out. Keshab is one of the persons in the leadership of this All Nepal Peasant Federation. I don't see any pictures here. Let me see, here I am. Is there any way we can find out if he hears us or not? He has his microphone silenced. Keshab? Can you not
Keshab?
hear me, Keshab? Then it...
Hello.
Then it... Oh, good. Do you hear me, Keshab? Do you hear me? We hear you. Let me see. Oh, yeah.
You're asking for.
Yeah, but the others hear me, so it's only Keshab that doesn't hear me. The others.
Okay, Keshab, please speak, please.
Which case of Harka?
Ok, si no, aquí está Basna, no sé. Thor, ¿a quién invitamos a hablar? ¿Invitamos a Basna?
Yeah, Vasna and all Nepal Peasant Federation, Keshab or Pramesh. I see Keshab, but there is something technically. We heard him, but he seems to not hear us.
Salió y volvió a entrar, está ahora entrando de nuevo. Espero que cuando estemos en el foro el internet funcione. Ese va a ser nuestro desafío. Bueno, volvió a entrar Kesha. Quecha, ¿podrías hablar?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I can hear you.
We hear
Good.
you.
Ok, adelante, Quecha. Quecha, Thor te hacía una invitación para que nos dieras un saludo, nos compartieras cómo está la situación en Kathmandú, cómo está el movimiento campesino. Era algo así, ¿no, Thor?
Sí, la posibilidad es de crear alianzas
Ujú.
con ayuda de esta foro social. The possibility
Thor, ya te quedaste pasmado. Eh, Kesha, si me escuchas, podrías compartir esto que decía Thor, cuáles son las posibilidades de articulación que se prevén en el marco de este Foro Social Mundial, en el marco de la Asamblea Social Mundial de Luchas y Resistencias. Si me escuchas, ¿puedes tomar la palabra, por favor? Kesha. Bueno, creo que ya perdimos a Kesha de nuevo. No, ahí está. Kesha, ¿podrías abrir tu micrófono?
Yeah. Can you hear me? But there was some problem with my, translation. So now I can hear you. So as I understood, I think I have to briefly say how the things are going on here. Yeah. There is a massive preparation now. Tord and Paco both are visiting the office, meeting us, and many other friends in Nepal who are, engaged heavily with World Social Forum. So I think tomorrow there is the final meeting at 2 p.m. Afternoon to afternoon in WSF headquarters here. So we are going to attend there, many people. And there will be updated something. I am given the responsibility of looking after you, dear friends, foreign guests. So I have to also work with them and get whatever information they can give me. So please, if you will provide me in this link the arrival time, your ticketing, and these all things. So that will be better because I can tell them to our volunteers and be attentive on those things. So far, there is arts work going on, which will be carried on in the procession, in the rally, and also in in the rooms and our programs wherever we like. We can choose best of them. So many artists today. I went there, and I was much interested. Much impressed also that so many artists are voluntarily doing all the message giving arts and all those things. On the government side, we have gone with this security matters and all other public necessaries, just like management of that cleanliness and all those things. We hope that will do good. Regarding this internet facilities, that has been still a challenge. But however, in focused groups that can be done, if not to all of them, because simultaneously there are more than, on one occasion, 34 sessions running parallelly. So all net management for all those groups in Zooms, large number of Zooms, that has been a real problem. But on other things, I think we are doing better. Hope the things will go smoothly. And regarding our program, Tord might have already told you, or he has written also a very beautiful story. You might have seen just before 15 minutes. I saw he had called me, and I opened my mail, and there was his how he spent these things. That is very beautifully written. I like it most. And also we are having some partners talking with the mountain people, our indigenous people who are more, who get their livelihood there and who are living there. They want to speak something. So I have managed them that you can come and express your concerns. And regarding this world social movement also, the different schools, different ideas will come, I think, in that 18th evening program. Why struggle and resistance, this importance from third world countries perspective, because we are talking like that. Some Bangladeshi friends, Bangladesh, our friends, and Sri Lankan, they are also in touch with me, and they say that they are much impressed with our theme. So I think things are moving very, happily over here, in spite of many constants which are there in such large gatherings. Thank you.
Kesha, una pregunta que hacía Tort era que más allá de la parte organizativa, ¿cuáles son como las posibilidades de articulación, de acuerpamiento de los movimientos sociales, de eso que estamos haciendo, de construir otro mundo posible? Hemos hablado en esta asamblea de la construcción de una agenda para la acción que no sea solamente, que no se quede solamente en el mero encuentro. ¿Qué posibilidades ves ahí de articulación de los movimientos sociales globales, campesinos, feministas, en fin, desde tu perspectiva? Adelante, por favor. ¿Puedes abrir tu micrófono?
Regarding the agenda, we are very much, positive in the outcome of World Social Forum. I have already told my friends that Social Forum is not simply a place to gather and express your things. It is also a place where you have to promise, where you have to take away the themes home, and move the movement in your country regarding different topics. Just like the inequality perspective is there, climate crisis is there, financial crisis is there, tax justice movement is there, where the tax evasion and all those things they are having. So women issues are there, youth issues are there, migrant workers, third world countries, all people flying to west, and villages and villages now they are almost deserted there. So these kind of world ideas, how we can change it, and what actions we should do. In that theme, we have to go ahead, and a world of socialism. We are very clear in our perspective. We have not to hide anything. We are very frank that this capitalism, it has its limitation, and it has already reached its last limit. So the only way, the another world is the world of socialism, but socialism with human rights, socialism with supremacy of law and rule of law, freedom and equality. So no, proletarian dictatorship or like that thing which we generally conceive of socialism in orthodox manner. Not in that way. The socialism of 21st century, where these challenges can be made successfully in people's activities. So struggle is the the main theme we want to take away home and make the there are so many unwanted things done by our respective governments, and resist them and build a worldwide nexus, a worldwide nexus, so that if you are being tortured or something like that, then we can have with this popular media one day of action in all parts of the world.
Tor, adelante, Tor.
Sorry,
Thank
I
you,
was
Keshav.
disturbed. Yeah, I was sorry. I was disturbed by one of my friend who want to join it.
Yeah,
From Nepal.
they are welcome. They are welcome. Thank you very much, Keshav. And I was much impressed when we met you and so many other leaders of the peasant movement and from trade unions. And for this discussion, to show how maybe problematic and at the same time many new options are possible when we meet like this, is that you said this concept that saving the mountains is a way to peace, which is what we also say in Sweden, that we need to bring peace on earth and peace with earth closer to each other. Because when the glaciers are melting, there is lack of water for agriculture and for billions of people, and then they start to struggle, and not only in big wars necessary between nations, but also maybe have for the possibility of establishing language across many different kind of conflicts, but anyway find common ground. So did I misunderstood you on this point, Keshav, with the mountains?
Thank you for reminding me our program, All Nepal Peasants Federation, in the name of food sovereignty and climate justice. We are having this program. This morning we had a meeting of Anpa people, and we did not say it in common the mountain, but we like to stress it our Himal. So Himalaya, a symbol of mountain in every country. Paco may be willing to say about Alps, and Rosie might be that Rockies and Sierra Leone, these are all mountains. Or you said the glaciers. So different parts of the world, our African friends might be saying Kilimanjaro. Everybody has their own mountains. So let us take our name, mountain, soil, food, peasant, and peace. These are the five things that cannot be separated from each other, and they give the total message of transformation to a humanly justified world, a human world to live, where we enjoy our life more fuller. In the sense that the mountains shape the earth. If there are no mountains, then in our part of the world, no Himalaya, no rain, no rivers, and no rivers, no soil, no agriculture, no food. But these all things are there because of peasants. So peasants should be at the center point, because those are only human elements that act over the natural things. So if these things go on, then you can have industry, then you can have education, then you can have, these all superstructures. They come later. So let us go to the fundamentals and save the earth, save Mother Earth. In that way, we are having our program on 18th, and that is our message also. Message from Kathmandu. Today we say that not only message from Kathmandu, but let us put two things there. Number one, let us do away with financial capitalism. The first point. And the second point is that let us promote people's socialism. In the sense I have already told you, with fundamental principles of liberty, equality, and justice, which resound almost that French Revolution more than 300 years back. Still we are chanting those things. So let us have that better world. In that way, we are having a talk program, and where Tord will also give some open, and I invite Roji to put our few words there.
Okay, thank you, Keshav. Now we have invited Wasr Ramasar, who has her roots in South Africa, but is currently working at the Lund University, but especially also one of the young leaders in the global transition movement. It's called Global Tapestry of Alternatives. And I've been so impressed in many of these events that has taken place, that there are so many, like Srishti and Augusto, etc., in this global transition movement, who are sort of atop of what is actually happening. And so please, Wasr, the floor is yours.
So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the people in South Asia. Thank you very much to Tord and Rosie and the World Assembly for Struggles and Resistance of the World Social Forum to invite me to speak here. I come on behalf of the Global Tapestry of Alternatives, and I've put the link in the chat. I must say, yes, I am sitting here now in Scandinavia, but my roots are, and I am from South Africa, but even deeper than that, my roots are from South Asia, with my family having come from India originally. So this conversation is something important to me personally, but also to the work that we are all trying to do in terms of reshaping the world. And so what I'm going to do in the few minutes that Todd asked me to speak is perhaps say some things quite broad level from the learning we've had in the different movements that have been part of. And then I'm happy to talk about the more specific examples of actions that are being taken by the Global Tapestry of Alternative, by the Post-Extractive Futures and others when we have the discussion. But for now, I think I will just say some very general comments and building very much on the things that Keshab has said, which have been, I think, getting to the core of it. I think for me, the first thing, and in the context of this talk, but as something that we all wake up to every day, is just acknowledging what is happening in the world, the kind of conflict, the kind of destruction, the kind of genocides that are taking place, whether it is in Gaza, the conflict that is happening also in Yemen, but also in Congo and so many other places. And it feels like it is a moment of grief and collective despair. But for me, it is also a moment of reckoning that for many people, I think the trust and the belief that leaders in the global politicians in the nation states will actually make the right decisions, make the fair and just decisions, is something we have to understand is not happening. And that is so very, very clear. To me, the conflicts, the reasons that we don't have peace are very tied up, and they make the connections very strongly between what we understand as the social injustices of the world, the political and economic injustices of the world, but also they tie in to the environmental and climate conflicts that we are seeing. I would like to just remind you that what we are seeing happening now in the Congo, where it is estimated that 150,000 people have been displaced, is also a part of the world that has the largest resources of cobalt necessary for lithium batteries for electric vehicles. When we are seeing what is happening in Gaza now, we also shouldn't forget that the occupied Palestina is full of oil and natural gas. They estimate 122 trillion cubic feet of gas and 1.7 billion barrels of oil. These conflicts that are happening are not just happening for socio-political reasons. They are also about resource extraction. And that is also why we are seeing the kind of relations between countries in the majority world, but also the countries in the minority world, specifically countries like US, UK, Canada, and others, supporting what is going on in these places. And as Keshab has said, they all come from the same fundamental issues, right? We recognize capitalism and the destructive nature of it. We acknowledge colonialism, patriarchy, a particular form of Western modern world that has been incredibly destructive. And so it is about trying to find ways that we are resisting this, but also that we are shaping the alternatives to that. And so in the work that we are doing with the Global Tapestry of Alternatives, I unfortunately will not be in Kathmandu, but many people from comrades from the Global Tapestry will be there, and we will be convening some events. But to me, I think drawing on what Keshab said, we have to be talking about, and not just talking, but building the eco-socialist futures that we need for the world. And I add the word eco there because it has to be that way. We have to find ways that we get the convergence of our struggles in how we resist, but also that we are supporting each other in building the alternatives. And we have to ensure that we build on sort of the ideas of care and community as well. Some of the things that are already happening, we are seeing that people are coming together. This World Assembly for Struggles and Resistance of the World Social Forum is an important moment. And Thomas put a question in the chat: how do we use it in the best ways possible? What Keshab said about more than human life, how do we understand the different ways of knowing, being, and doing in the world, of connecting with life beyond human lives, becomes really important. How do we focus on autonomy and sovereignty, forms of radical democracy that are not based on the voting systems of the nation state, which are failing us as we see in so many parts of the world? How do we ensure the dignified work that is needed? Just remembering the video that we watched at the beginning. These are the conversations that we have to have. But also, as I mentioned, these conversations need to be had together, because these are not separate struggles. These are struggles that must be brought together if we are thinking about a just transition. Before I close, I want to acknowledge that there have been many manifestos. There was a number of references that were put, the dilemmas of humanity. They have 4 points that we have to think about in terms of what is happening in the world. The Global Tapestry World Social Forum through Adelante has put a manifesto, and there are many such moments of words and writing and agreement amongst our movements. Now, as we move towards Kathmandu, where again, people will be able to meet in person, maybe not all of us, but the things for me that become really important to this conversation is, how do we match the urgency of working together, of bringing our struggles together, whilst at the same time recognizing that it takes time to build trust, to go across the linguistic justice and the challenges that we have there, for example. How do we actually show up for each other's movements? What's happening now in Palestine is an example when world's people are standing up together. But how do we actually find those ways to do that for individual movements as well as the collective? And then how do we also move from the manifestos to the actions? How do we leave Kathmandu energized, feeling a sense of that solidarity, but actually also with some plans of what we do? And I think these are the important things that we need to think about. And doing so, also recognizing there are no universal answers, that we are trying to do this in a way that opens a space for a pluriverse of thinking about the different struggles and what different communities need, different ecosystems need, and how do we achieve that together? So I feel like it is a difficult moment we are in, but it is an opening, as Arundhati Roy has said. And how do we take this opening? How do we use this momentum that is there now through what is happening with the World Social Forum to build something that takes us from words to really transnational solidarity? So I'm looking forward to the rest of the conversation this afternoon. And even though I won't be in Kathmandu, to hearing what happens after. We cannot have peace without actually having a just transition. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias, Vasna. Maravillosas tus palabras, muy importantes. Esto que señalas de salir con más energía, creo que todos queremos eso. Y eso de la confianza no es algo que es automático, es parte de un proceso de diálogo, de construcción colectiva, de reconocer que estamos luchando por lo mismo. Y bueno, muchas gracias. No sé, Tort, adelante, Tort.
I fully agree with Rosie, and I think all the free contributions, I include the fantastic Latin American culture, the music, but also the generosity and in providing such fantastic possibilities for us to not only be kept, to be imprisoned in the English language. Because I do see some problems when everything goes in English, although of course it is of help as well. I think it maybe is the opposite, due to that the crisis is now expanding in so very many fields. Now it's faster to build trust than ever. And I think Gaza changed it all. Gaza made it possible to understand that there are different wars going on, and that the present acceleration of the geopolitical conflicts is something we have to deal with in the way that very movements have been doing, by asking both peace movements in Israel and among the Palestinians, and trying to bridge the gap between people in Ukraine and Russia, trying to build something that moves us forward and brings some hope beyond the immediate concerns, saying that, yes, the immediate concerns is always the most important, but we do need also some hope for the future. So my impression is that we are better than ever placed to enable this, in spite of at the same time see very big problems in terms of having the resources to come together. We start to understand that this Zoom possibilities was an enormous help in terms of the possibility to do qualified meetings with global attendance. But we also see that it can never replace the direct meetings between people. That there is another thing when we actually are able to meet each other directly. And that is why Kathmandu is so important. But we certainly can use these kind of new methods in terms of building upon what we can do in Kathmandu and further on. It's quite clear that it has been great problems in using that possibility before Kathmandu, because there has been no resources for the World Social Forum Secretariat, for ROSI. There has been very little in general. I know I'm in the Council of International Peace Bureau, and the total budget of that organization is 100,000 euro. That is 10. Friends of Sweden have 10 times more in its national budget, and the Swedish peace organization, a member of the IPB, have also 10 times more. So there's a very lack of resources on the international level. But at the same time, we see this coming together, and I've never seen so much easy it is to start to discuss with each other. One of the things that I see very essential is a new understanding of that we have to leave the old left language, which was always saying trade unions and social movements. What we see in the Dilemma of Humanity declaration, which Wasr spoke so fantastic about in general, is that one talks about trade unions, peasants, and other movements. The same goes for the discussions we have in Sweden, trying to build trust among peace, environment, and social movements for the general idea of disarmament, for welfare and environment, or as we say, a just climate transition. There we also have focused on this necessity of addressing the rural as equally important as the urban. And this, I think, is very essential if we are going to oppose that kind of financial strength in the banks and the corporations that actually sort of brings all resources into the hands of some urban elites. Maybe we can use different words. Financial capitalism in Sweden, we talk about, in Friends of the Earth Sweden, we talk about the corporate power. And we do also talk about the problem with the banks. That can we overcome, but what we do need is to understand that this crisis is linked both to the militarization of everything, including at the domestic level with growing repression everywhere. It is also linked to the financial systems, which is maybe one of the most effective ways of controlling other people and other countries. It's also linked to technology. the way that technology seems as the only solution, while it often actually is a way to control, which has been very clearly seen in the struggle for against the patents and which didn't fully succeed in the COVID crisis, but HIV crisis, there was the possibilities to struggle against these patent laws and make it possible to open up for other possibilities for technological solution. And of course, the control of natural resources and mass media. So it seems like it's impossible to deal with all these things at the same time, but that is what I think we are on the way of actually doing. With this kind of understanding, as Wasr so clearly have shown, that we have to relate it to the local realities. We have to build the link between the local and the global. So thank you very much for this. And I do look forward to our discussion, as I've seen in the list here that we have people for both from Ukraine and Russia and many other places. So please, now it's time to take the word. I will have some problems in managing because I use the mobile, but maybe you can see Rosie, who is you can, I suppose many knows how to raise their hands nowadays by these links down in the menu. Okay.
Pueden levantar la mano física o la manita digital. Entonces, quien quiera, o abrir su micrófono y decir yo quiero hablar, no tenemos problema. Bueno, aquí hay varias compañeras, pueden levantar la mano. No sé, hay compañeros de México, de Argentina, de Colombia. Jaime Cortobús, adelante si te presentas también. Gracias. O Jane.
Do you mean me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not so used to just politics in English, so you have to have a bit, what do you say? Oh, so you know if the English is not correct. And perhaps Tord can help me. I can take it in Swedish and if it's necessary. But I'm active in a committee in Sweden and in the peace movement, in the biggest peace movement in Sweden. Svenska Freds is the name in Swedish. And we are active in a committee who is working for peace, just climate transition. And the thing we are facing here in the Nordic countries is a big plan for NATO and for agreement that the US is going to establish 17 military bases in Sweden and a lot of bases in Finland and Norway and Denmark too. It's all 35. And the thing that we have discussed and what what's important for us is that if we are going to work for peace and get people to think that peace is possible in Europe, for instance, but also worldwide, then the war in Ukraine has affected the whole discussion in Europe in a very bad way and had make our politicians they are fighting for this it's important for us to get linked up with the peace and climate movement in Russia, because we have to make it possible that we are on both sides of this Ukrainian war, that we want the people to work for peace and that the war is the leaders' game, not our not what we want. So for us, it's very important to get in contact with Russian people and Russian peace activists, both in Russia but also in Europe, because a lot of people left Russia due to the war with Ukraine. And the other thing that I think is very important is to see that we have to make a vision, all the movements worldwide who is fighting for solidarity, another economic system, and for the climate, that it's very important that we have this positive vision that this is possible to do. And the positive vision it has to come from us, because our leaders, their future is catastrophic, both for the climate, with the wars and all the social welfare who is they're cutting down and so on. So that's a very important thing that we can do with this declaration from Kathmandu, that we have this positive, hopeful vision. I think that's very, very important in this time, because people are very depressed and confused and scared and shocked over all this war policy. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. Is there somebody else who would like to comment on this?
Dorothy Guerrero. ¿Puedes abrir tu micrófono, Dorothy? No sé si hablas inglés. Dorothy, please open your microphone.
No, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you see me and hear me now? Can you hear me or see me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we
great.
can.
Yeah, great.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. And also, yeah, many thanks for organizing this, because I'm also one of those that may not be able, that will not be able to go and in person and participate in Kathmandu, due to financial constraints from our organization. I'm originally from the Philippines, but I'm now based in the UK, and I work with Global Justice Now, which is a UK-based organization, and we campaign together with groups, social movements, and campaign organizations in the Global South on issues on trade, on climate, and also on corporate power. And I share Vasna's thinking when it comes to asking the question as well, and also we need to find a response on, after the World Social Forum, what next? Because for many campaigners, for many especially the younger people, many of them, I have asked some of the campaigners here in the UK, many who are below 35 are not familiar with the World Social Forum. And then also some of them who attended Social Forum also asked the questions, will that be another talk shop? After gathering people together, what can we bring home? So I think that's a very crucial question that what the World Social Forum needed to respond to. My history also in the World Social Forum is when I was still working with Focus on the Global South, looking at the issues globally on a deglobalization perspective. And I think now the nature of the processes, the nature of capitalism, it hasn't changed, but it intensified in a way that we are no longer talking about neoliberal policies or neoliberal capitalism. We are now facing and experiencing monopoly capitalism. So in that aspect, there's more and more concentration of power on a few corporations that control control food, energy, information, and information is the new oil. Our data is the new oil, and many people are still grappling. How do you face this capitalism of data and information? Also, even on addressing climate change, which is a big issue. 2 days ago, there was a report that the world already breached the 1.5 degrees centigrade. So during the discussion at the Paris COP, our leaders are still thinking of 2030 as a medium term and 2050 as targets. But the thing is, we could not, climate could not wait for that. The global warming will not wait for 2030, 2050. And in fact, this year, it is already the first time that the world will see a first year-long breach of that 1.5 degrees centigrade. There's also, as we understand, that very intimate link or very strong link between peace and then also climate justice, as there are a very intimate link between climate injustices and war. Climate, energy, these are considered as security issues, and as mentioned, we believe and we all know that the issue in Gaza, for example, involves resources that wanted to be grabbed by the powerful. So these are the issues that all of us are facing now, and I also share with everyone here that yes, we do need to find hope, and gathering together does build that hope, and also knowing that we share the perspective, we share the commitment, and we share a deep understanding of what's wrong with the world at the moment, but finding the steps, the measures on where can we work together, how do we work together, and which forms of working together can we find out so that we can make alternatives happen. We know that there are alternatives out there and they're already being being implemented, but they're not seen as a mainstream. So how can we also push for that? So I think those are just the questions I'm raising now, and I know that for those of you who are there in Kathmandu, you have a week-long opportunity to find and discuss these questions. I also wanted to, as my last point as well, because I have participated in some of the regional or when the World Social Forum was held in India, in Tunis, how to ensure as well that the lessons of those forums, the lessons of those discussions and gathering are again brought back to the discussions, and let's see as well what work in the practices that we're already doing, what needs to be strengthened, how do we learn from those discussions, because if we are still talking about the same issues, then there might be a question on, are we actually addressing those issues if we're still talking about the same. And of course, the governments, there are times when we can rely on them. The big lesson for this year, as we see, is that the global South countries can lead, as exemplified by South Africa when it put that case in the International Court of Justice on genocide. But then you have the rich countries, the more powerful countries that are willing to turn away and look the other way around and continue supporting the genocide. And I happen to be living in one of those countries. So for us that are in the North, I know that we have a big responsibility to organize here, mobilize here, and question the kind of governments that we have here, and also how our governments in the north are contributing to more oppression, to more dispossession, to more inequalities, injustices. So I think all our voices need to gather together, learn our lessons, and also strengthen further the power that we already have. Because we have a big problem that we face. We need to mobilize more, organize more, win many victories faster and in a shorter period of time as well. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias, Dorothy. Maravilloso lo que compartes. Sin duda necesitamos esperanza y construir esta agenda de acción global, pues no es un proceso sencillo, ¿no? Los que vamos a Kathmandú, bueno, yo tengo la fortuna de ir a Kathmandú hice una vaquita con amigos, una agencia que puso otro poquito más, porque no está fácil, no está fácil ir. Y eso que planteas está en el corazón, creo que de nuestra lucha, de nuestra esperanza. Yo como parte del Consejo Internacional del Foro Social Mundial en América Latina, creemos que es importante la formación política, pero siempre enfocada hacia algo concreto, o sea, que toque esta realidad que vivimos como mujeres, como sindicalistas, como trabajadores, como campesinos, como juventudes, infancias, en fin, creo que y necesitamos, como bien decía Basna, pues ganar esa confianza que no se gana, yo lo decíamos cuando iniciamos estos diálogos, no se gana, no se hace una agenda con una reunión en virtual. Tenemos que ir en un proceso de acercamiento, de reconocimiento de nuestras luchas, de saber lo que estamos haciendo, de ubicar cosas en común y avanzar hacia esa construcción colectiva. Sin duda nos duele este genocidio que está ocurriendo en Palestina y que ocurre en otros países de África o de América Latina. Incluso yo vivo en Jalisco, es una ciudad que tiene la cantidad más grande de desaparecidos, porque tenemos más de 20,000 desaparecidos y desaparecidas. Entonces, creo que hay muchas cosas que están pasando en el mundo que nos deben hacer unirnos a todas y a todos. Muchísimas gracias. Le doy la palabra a Alfredo Salmerón, que levantó la mano. Y si alguien más quiere levantar la mano, adelante. Maestro, si abre su micrófono,
Sí,
no lo...
sí, ¿se escucha?
Sí, se escucha.
Muchas gracias, Rosy. Muchas gracias y muy buenos días o no sé qué horario tendremos en otras partes. Pero bueno, rápidamente trataré de decir esto. Yo también me encuentro en la ciudad de Guadalajara, en México, en Jalisco, y pues sí, en efecto, es terrible la realidad de la desaparición forzada. Es parte de un crecimiento enorme que tiene lo que aquí se llama la delincuencia organizada, pero que bueno, sabemos todos que es un conjunto de negocios ilegales, pues que han encontrado aquí, como en otras partes, terreno fértil, pero aquí de manera muy destacada. Este es el lugar más alto en desaparición forzada en todo México. Bueno, yo quería mencionar también, tenemos compañeros en el campo, situados al borde de la barranca, unos más hacia abajo, otros en las laderas altas, que tienen décadas siendo contaminados por las industrias que vienen desde el centro de nuestro país, por el río que empieza antes del lago de Chapala, llamándose Lerma, y que después es el río Santiago. Y bueno, llega la contaminación por este río de todas las industrias, pero también tienen ya pues décadas también siendo contaminados desde las alturas de las laderas, escurriendo lixiviados que han dañado la flora, fauna y pues por supuesto a las personas. Estamos con estas problemáticas en nuestra ciudad por muchas otras partes. Hay también otros basureros, hay una corrupción muy fuerte y tenemos problemas pues que nos hacen movernos desde hace muchos años. Yo quiero mencionar rápidamente que en este año de altermundismo, pues nosotros cumplimos 20 años en Guadalajara de haber sido reprimidos. En el 2004, el 28 de mayo, fuimos reprimidos brutalmente los altermundistas en el contexto de una represión que ya se había originado en Génova, bueno, de manera más destacada, pero que había tenido episodios en el 2001, en el 2003, en otros lugares del mundo y en nuestro propio país. Recordamos Cancún, pero Guadalajara fue el sitio en donde se castigó severamente la participación que veníamos teniendo los altermundistas y en este momento preparamos actos de conmemoración, pero también analizamos lo que ha pasado y pues estamos bastante impactados en esta ciudad por lo que ocurre en Gaza, por lo que ocurre en Palestina. Para nosotros es una prioridad humana en este momento y tenemos que parar este genocidio. No hay algo que para nosotros sea más urgente. No podemos admitir el exterminio del pueblo palestino. Tenemos también que detener esta horrenda guerra imperialista en proceso, esta tercera gran guerra imperialista en proceso, y el fascismo que se extiende por todo el mundo,
Perdón,
especialmente.
Perdón, Alfredo, que te interrumpa un minuto. Le voy a pedir a los compañeros que nos apoyan con portugués e inglés, si nos ayudan a pasar de español a inglés. Gracias. Adelante, Alfredo.
Sí, gracias, los estoy cerrando ya, no quiero abusar de la palabra. Detener el fascismo en Europa, en el mundo y en América Latina. En América Latina a veces llega el fascismo por movimientos, pues desde instancias muy poderosas, llega por golpe y a veces llega también por la vía electoral y pues eso ocasiona que los pueblos sean golpeados, y está ocurriendo en este momento con nuestros hermanos argentinos. Los trabajadores pues están haciendo lo que es necesario hacer en todas partes, unirse y pues utilizar las herramientas de que disponen los trabajadores, de que disponemos, ¿sí? Especialmente pues movilizarnos para hacer la huelga, pero comunicarnos es importantísimo. Esto que ustedes han dicho el día de hoy, esta comunicación que nos va a permitir a los que pueden estar allá y los que estamos de lejos, lograr ciertos acuerdos mínimos a pesar de la enorme heterogeneidad de nuestras realidades. Esto es un reto, pero es también una gran riqueza que tiene esta lucha que ahora nos facilita el darle nueva vida al Foro Social Mundial. Muchas gracias por haber escuchado. Estoy atento también.
Muchísimas gracias, Alfredo, por traernos a la memoria pues este recordatorio de que precisamente el Foro Social Mundial y creo que esta Asamblea de Luchas y Resistencias nace con la necesidad de pues de reactivar las luchas que están ahí en los territorios, porque creamos esta agenda de acción global, pero también pensando en lo local y sumarnos a esta ola de indignación Y por supuesto que dijimos cómo parar este genocidio que se está dando en Palestina y este aniquilamiento que se quiere hacer del mismo. Bueno, no sé si está abierto el micrófono, quien quiera tomar la palabra. Ahí está una compañera de Argentina, que es parte también de SEAL. No sé si quieras tomar la palabra, compañera Sandra, compartirnos cómo está la situación. Bueno, también está Norma. eh, si quieren compartir o alguien más, que los que están aquí presentes, está abierto el micrófono para que compartan. Adelante, Sandra.
Bueno, buenos días. Sí, yo soy argentina, soy una organización de educación popular de Santa Fe, del interior. Esto lo aclaro porque siempre yo comparto con mis compañeros de SEAL que las imágenes que generalmente se transmiten son las de Buenos Aires, pero en nuestro país no solo la repercusión de las medidas que ha tomado todos los días, son un montón de medidas que toma el gobierno nacional, la movilización y el impacto es en todo el territorio argentino. Lamentablemente esto tiene una historia de larga data. Ustedes saben que en los avances de la derecha y de la ultraderecha en todos nuestros países de Latinoamérica es una constante, hay como circuitos, como ciclos. La característica particular que tiene este gobierno de ultraderecha es que ha ganado con el voto de más del 50% de nuestra población. Por suerte, como contaba el compañero de México, la movilización no se hizo esperar. El paro convocada por las confederaciones de trabajo del 24 de enero que ustedes vieron ha sido el resultado de la movilización del pueblo y de las organizaciones sociales, que desde la primera medida que tomó el gobierno, que fue un DNU, un decreto nacional del poder del gobierno nacional, que lo que pretende, y que lamentablemente está en vigencia todavía, es centrar todo el poder político, institucional y el poder económico en una persona, que es el presidente, pero que el presidente, más allá de las características personales que tiene, está puesto ahí por un grupo de poder económico. Como ustedes saben, él no venía de la política, fue surgiendo espontáneamente y se fue instalando sobre todo a partir de las redes sociales. Bueno, la lucha de nosotros, ustedes vieron que esta semana hubo un revés, decimos que es un triunfo parlamentario, por eso decimos que es un triunfo gracias a la movilización del sistema democrático, porque fue el Parlamento que lleva a que se retire un proyecto de ley que abarcaba todas las dimensiones de nuestras vidas. Y todos los puntos tenían que ver con retroceder con los derechos ganados y poner obstáculos a seguir avanzando en esos derechos en estos últimos 40 años de democracia que hemos tenido. Pero eso no es ganar todo, sino ha sido un revés parlamentario, porque mientras siga en vigencia el decreto del gobierno nacional, tiene todas las facultades políticas, de poder político, para seguir avanzando en un montón de medidas económicas, son medidas de ajuste. Ese ajuste lo pagamos el pueblo, no lo está pagando un grupo al cual él denomina la casta, y además el empobrecimiento de un gran sector de la sociedad ha sido muy raudo. Por eso las organizaciones sociales, los movimientos sociales, estamos pidiendo que se declare la emergencia alimentaria. Lamentablemente hoy el hambre crece paulatinamente todos los días en Argentina, siendo uno de los países de Latinoamérica más ricos y que producimos alimentos. La desregulación que se viene haciendo desde diciembre del 11 de diciembre de 2023, es decir, desde el día después que asumió este gobierno, favorece la libre exportación de todo lo que tenemos. Al poder exportarse libremente todo lo que producimos, eso eso genera también una desregulación de la definición de los precios del mercado interno, y eso hace que los precios de los alimentos hayan crecido muchísimo. No solo, es decir, que es una convergencia de variables el aumento de los precios de los alimentos en nuestro país. Tiene que ver con la inflación, con la deflación y la desregulación de la exportación. Por lo tanto, estamos en una situación muy, muy crítica. Esto no hace que en todas nuestras luchas no aparezca la solidaridad con el pueblo palestino, porque aunque nosotros creemos que si en nuestro país esto no se detiene, vamos a ir a lo que se dice a una dolarización, pero como ustedes saben y como ha pasado en otros países, la dolarización es fortalecer el negocio narco, lo narcopolítico, pero en todas nuestras luchas sigue estando presente nuestra solidaridad con el pueblo palestino, lo queremos decir, porque lo nuestro es todo un proceso de dominación y de ajuste por el hambre, el temor, la represión, pero el exterminio que está sucediendo en Gaza no es lo que nos está pasando ahora. Gracias por abrir el micrófono.
Muchísimas gracias, Sandra. Qué fuerte lo que nos compartes. En realidad es una emergencia en la que está Argentina y necesitamos también solidarizarnos globalmente con la lucha y seguir haciendo la presión necesaria, pues para que frene o frenar de alguna manera estas locuras de ultraderecha que se están dando allá. Tenía la mano levantada Álvaro y no sé si, bueno, Thor quiere comentar algo. Álvaro, ¿puedes abrir tu micrófono?
Gracias, Rosy. ¿Se me escucha?
Sí.
Bueno, un abrazo desde Colombia para todas y todos. Me complace mucho que nos encontremos en esta mañana, noche de sábado. Y quería mencionar algunas cosas que creo que tienen que ver con esta lucha por la justicia y la paz en estos momentos. Lo primero, aprovechando el testimonio de la compañera de Argentina, es que pareciera que todavía no entendemos muy bien a qué se deben los distintos auges de autoritarismo en el planeta, de todo tipo. Como que no entendemos los resortes del miedo o los distintos miedos que en la población mundial vienen frente a los cambios y a esta policrisis. Creo que tendríamos que abordarlo muy bien para poder plantear una posibilidad de acción conjunta global que sea alternativa, pero sobre todo que dé esperanza. Partiendo de eso, quisiera mencionar también que si nos miramos los rostros de quienes conformamos este espacio y muchos otros en los que participamos, casi no encontramos personas menores de 25 años en nuestras reuniones. No es porque no se estén reuniendo, es más, lo están haciendo, sino porque tal vez existe una verdadera grieta, no solamente generacional, sino en la forma de entender la realidad que tendríamos que superar. Y eso pasa también por la comunicación. Criticamos constantemente las formas en las que se mueve el mundo ahora de la información, la manipulación permanente que hay, pero tendríamos que desaprender nuestros mecanismos que hemos usado siempre cotidianamente comunicarnos y pensar en otros. Y hablando de comunicación, y creo que con esto quiero cerrar, tenemos que aprender un poco de cómo la gente se ha venido movilizando en solidaridad, con empatía, frente a la catástrofe del pueblo palestino. Existen muchas luchas y situaciones en el planeta: el Congo, Sudán, Rojava, el pueblo Rohingya, lo que ha venido sucediendo en la guerra de Rusia con Ucrania, lo que viven los migrantes en el planeta. Pero tal vez lo que ha generado solidaridad y movilización a nivel global es la empatía que ha generado la transmisión de la información de lo que le sucede al pueblo palestino, la gran injusticia. Entonces, tendríamos que pensar en algo que nos pueda vincular, que nos pueda tejer, como se dice, generar ese tejido de alternativas. Y creo que una cosa bien importante es la espiritualidad, esta entendida como la reconexión con lo natural, con la naturaleza que somos todas y todos. Y para eso creo que los momentos claves, rituales como los solsticios, los equinoccios, el Día del Agua el 22 de marzo, el Día Mundial de la Tierra, el Día de la Lucha de las Mujeres el 8 de marzo, tienen que ser espacios donde podamos compartir, podamos reinventarnos, sentir en verdad lo que se está moviendo bajo tierra y está emergiendo. Y que, volviendo al punto de donde comencé, el auge de los autoritarismos se debe en gran medida, obviamente, a que se hacen atractivos, llaman la atención, independiente que la gente no entienda muy bien qué plantea Milei o Erdogan o Duterte o Trump, sino que van a lo visceral. Y visceralmente tenemos que actuar también. O sea, visceral o desde el sentimiento más profundo de lo que nos hace humanos, de lo que nos conecta. Creo que tendremos que seguir aprendiendo y espero que el espacio en Kathmandu permita avanzar hacia ello. Bueno, muchas gracias para todas y todos.
Muchísimas gracias, Álvaro. Jane. Jane. Jane Cortobus. Tu micrófono. Jane.
Is it me, you mean?
Yes.
I don't. Janne is the name. Yes, it's not so easy to pronounce. Janne, yeah. I just want to say one thing, and that is that I support very strongly the idea of International Action Day, common as that the World Social Forum, and I have seen it in the text that you have a suggestion that we should have common action days all over the world, like Fridays for Future did at the climate fight before the pandemic. And I think that is what can give us hope if we have the power of the example, when you can see the movement in reality, and that we can unite over the whole world about peace and climate justice and justice for social justice. If that would be possible, I think that would be that is what we need to see ourselves as human beings, and trying to change the world, and that we do it in action. I think that is so necessary. Otherwise, the hope is going to fade away, and we have to see it in reality together. Yes, thank you.
Thor, adelante. Voy a activar la cabina de otra compañera, te llama Ámbar, pero adelante, Thor, si quieres decir algo.
Okay.
Thor, adelante.
It is really a problem with international action days, how to make them really work, because there has to be sort of timing, there has to be political content. I have to fix my wait a bit. There is something with my...
Ok, adelante. Adelante, Thor.
Yeah, I was just fixing, so it should be correct here. It takes some time when it's a mobile. What can really bring hope is when there is enough strength in something. The genius with the Prize of Future was the strike, the form in a way that very many could participate in, had any radical feeling, and a very specific group that was asked to say what they thought was necessary. And the question is, how is that possible now? There are many different things going on, and what many might feel is a sort of feeling of a risk for, as a sort of a basic existential feeling of that something is very, very wrong, whether that is ongoing wars in Ukraine or Gaza, or whether it is the climate crisis or a biological extinction of species. But how can one address this in a way which becomes an action which shows another direction? In Sweden, it's now very often, and NATO's General Secretary says the same, that it's weapons that brings peace. And what I then wonder about is that in reality, quite often it is refusing weapon that brings peace. This was necessary in the Vietnam War. What really made a difference was then there were many deserters in the American army. And I think the necessity of thinking in terms of how can the population in countries be concerned. How is it possible with the population in Russia? How is it the population in Ukraine or in Sweden? And here I know very well that the Russian socio-ecological union is still sort of working in spite of that they are labeled foreign agents. And Boris Kagalitsky, who is a Russian who has been against this war now against Ukraine and was sentenced on the way to the prison, but for some reason he was given free out of custody, only some fine. But he states this thing that it is maybe so that Russians also are aware of the climate crisis, that the Russians maybe could think about to change something, but that the oligarchs are in the way, that the oligarchs want to continue to earn their money from the oil revenues and want to continue the systems as it is. And he claims that the Western oligarchs are very similar. So what can one then do to present some common vision that we actually need disarmament for saving the climate? And there I do wonder, because we have some contacts with eco-villages, both in Ukraine and Russia. And of course, this can be seen as very romantic, but somehow one have to reach across these growing divisions and at least have some sort of idea like the women's peace movement had in the 1980s. They say that children needs the money given to the generals. And this can be seen as a very, very simplistic way of arguing. But I think that the children of the future do need the money that now goes into the military. So I wonder if there's any comment on that.
Está la mano levantada de Jane. Adelante, Jane. ¿Puedes abrir tu micrófono?
Is it me again?
Yes.
Okay. Now I just wanted to say that I think that what we need to do, if it's possible, I don't know, but I hope it should be, that is to have this this picture of another world where solidarity and justice and working together is the goal and the vision, and that the wars and the climate crisis, that's not our solution. It's not our way. It's their way. The oligarchs from the west and the east and the south, they don't care about our future, our kids and our grandchildren and so on. And that we have to make a decision. The whole humanity has to make a decision to stop kill each other when we have different needs, or when it's come to conflicts. That we once and for all have to say no to the war and to killings as a solution of conflicts. And I think that would be if you can unite world over the different movements, that we have to say stop for the killing. We have to say no for wars. It doesn't matter which type of wars. We have to make solidarity and humanity. That is our way. That's what we want, and that is the answer to all the questions of the social crisis, the war, and the climate crisis. And if that would be possible from this World Social Forum, to have a declaration that we need these type of international action days together, because everybody who fights for a better future, or for welfare, or for Palestine, or for peace in Ukraine and Russia, everybody could come with their movements and with their issues and do it together, manifestate together. That's my point of view. Thank you.
Así mismo, no a la guerra. Vera.
Hello, everybody. Buenos días a todos. I want to point out that it is very important to speak that the weapon manufacturing factories should be transformed to ecosystem factories, batteries that produce for homes heat or whatever, but they shouldn't continue producing weapons. And this should be a demand from the World Social Forum, I believe. And also we should speak that the Russia, for instance, just to take the war on the territory of Ukraine, the Russian Vladimir is not the enemy of the Ukrainian Volodymyr. They are not enemies to each other, and we should talk a lot about this. The real enemies of Vladimir and Volodymyr are the oligarchs, those who want to continue this war on eastern and western part, those who are the war morgans, who produce the weapons and want to use it not on their own country's territory, but on other countries' territory. Today, I saw a shocking report film about Kenya. In Kenya, there was the British Empire, and they were so-called liberated. But in this past 60 years, they live in the same way with this neo-colonialistic trick, with this neo-colonialistic lie. They live in the same way as before their liberation. So it's really terrible all over the world. And I think we should give a big voice to these topics as well. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Vera. De acuerdo con esto de convertir las fábricas de armas en fábricas para la vida. Antonio, Paco. Open your microphone.
Paco has a
Antonio.
problem with the microphone.
Yeah, say to
Wait a bit.
Give the word to the other. Wait 1 second. Okay. Okay, sorry, I got a quarrel with the telephone. Sorry. Good evening. Jan and who thinks about the Global Day just two of action. In 2008, if I remember well, the International Council take out the proposal to do a Global Day of Action. And we did. So it was a big organization, and maybe 6, 7, 8 months of job on that. So to do this, you need a big organization, and you need people that are commitment for this. And you can be also have an open and wide theme for the day of action. But the most important thing is the organization, because to do with these things, this is the matter. So I love to do if it is possible, and this I think that World Social Forum IC, because then it could be IC that launch, not a declaration, or you have to go to each room to ask if someone wants to do a Global Day of Action and then collect this. You know, it's an enormous job technically to do. It's Pierre, I think, inside. He knows how to what is hard to organize all of these things. So why not? And but before needs a small group of people that represent big organization, union or peasant organization, or that with the people that is a part of the AC decide to see if it's practical to do something like this. You know, Via Campesina made usually 2 days in the year of mobilization. Was 17 April. That is one is regarding a massacre that was made to the MST people in Brazil. Then is the day of food, we can say, in October. So is very now is then we have every day 1 day for something. So is Dorothy is a part of climate justice network, so that she has many contacts there. Friday for Future can join. Everybody can join, but who has the time, because it's a big job. That is the fact. You have to work, and right now few organizations has people committed to organize
something that is not really day by day struggle. You know what I mean? The ILO was part of the 2008 was International Labour Organization. Then was other organization of workers. So that's I like to dream, Janne. I'm a visionary, but this time a little bit perplexed. And also I do, you know, I did in this year, we collect video from all over the world. The farmers start to know how in Philippines how to do a video. They send the video. Was great, but we got also some money to put on the table, because we give a support there, and then in another place. Now we have a problem that some people can't come to Nepal. So we will see. Why not? We will see how it's going also this forum, and if it's producing something strong that should be wide to agglutinate different groups. So sorry for my long speech. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Paco. A ver, espérenme, déjenme ver en qué estoy escuchando. Escucho portugués en la cabina de español. Decirles que la compañera que está sacando el audio en portugués está en la cabina de español, si se ajusta, gracias. Acabo de integrar a Camila Comas, otra intérprete de español por inglés. Entonces nos va a ayudar aquí con español e inglés. Se nos está acabando el tiempo. Bueno, sigo escuchando el portugués en la cabina de español, compañera. A ver si se mueve a la de portugués. Decirles que, bueno, creo que necesitamos con urgencia la rearticulación de los movimientos, el fortalecimiento de las diferentes luchas. Le voy a dar la palabra a Christine Karch de NATO para que nos comparta su palabra. Ya no ha hablado, hay dos compañeros que levantaron la mano. Vamos a pedirles a Christine que nos comparta su palabra. Adelante, Christine.
Yeah, my name is Christine Karch. I'm based in Germany and the co-chair of the international network, No to War, No to NATO. So it's anti-NATO, not pro-NATO. And I think there are a lot of activities, especially for Palestine and against the Ukraine war. And we have only to coordinate a little bit more than now. And there are a lot of international networks and asking for international action days. I think every Saturday and Sunday there are demonstrations. I know in Germany we have several specific days where in several cities people are in the street. The same is in the United States and also in other countries. We only have to see how we can connect them and distribute the information. And it's not a really huge organization necessary. I think people on the basis in the cities necessary who are going to the demonstration. And we have more in the street. If we have more cities demonstrations, then we have one huge event in maybe the capital or things like this. And I think in this situation, it is really necessary to bring to the street as much as possible. And of course, to demand from our government to stop the weapon delivery to Ukraine and to Israel, and even the support of Israel. And this, I think, is very important. And the next huge action will be in July, the NATO summit in Washington, D.C., where NATO is celebrating 75 years. And this means 75 years of murder and death and war, because NATO is fighting wars more than ever in the last years and weeks. And we have to overcome all these war logic to come really to peaceful events, and they will invite you all to take part, of course, in the actions in Washington, but also we will have actions in other NATO countries. And up to this event, to the NATO summit, we have several webinars to inform about the policy of NATO and where is NATO acting, because it's nearly no country in the world which is not affected by NATO, positive or negative, even if you have to see it. And our website is very simple, no-d-nato.org. There you can find all the information. Send us mail, send us your activities, what you are doing, and we can exchange them and see that we can come to collaboration wherever it's possible. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Cristina. Y sí, eres de no nato. Perdón por la confusión ahí. Miren, le voy a dar la palabra también a Igor. Vamos a pedirle que sea breve. Y después breves palabras también de Jane y luego de Alfredo para cerrar, porque ya se nos estamos con el tiempo. Igor. Igor, ¿puedes abrir tu micrófono?
Hello all. I'm speaking from Russia, St. Petersburg, Leningrad, as you please. I would like to say two things. The first thing is that it concerns this disarmament problem. I think that the primary issue is the political position and political decisions of those who has power, political power and economic power. And actually, to put it honestly, I don't think that this disarmament, the decisions on disarmament can be first decisions that would stop the wars. The wars must be stopped by political decisions. And so political pressure should be exerted on the governments who wage these wars. And here we have a problem of political regime. Because when I hear all these things about the struggles in Europe and the United States and Latin America, it's good to hear all these things. But actually, a political campaign against the policies of the ruling group in Russia is not possible now. It was possible 20 years ago, and I remember that when we collaborated with the social forum movements in about 15 or 20 years ago, we exchanged experience of our struggles, but it is not the case now because we have dictatorial regime in Russia now, and nobody can publicly speak out against the war, against the invasion to Ukraine, without being put in prison now. So I think that the main thing for us is at least some kind of solidarity with all initiatives that could affect the political regime here. And also solidarity with those who are already in prisons now. So I would appeal to pay attention to these stories. They involve different activists, including leftists and trade unionists, as well as those people who were not involved in politics before, but are now imprisoned for their anti-war actions. I think this is a very important thing. And of course, this about this very controversial issue about these arms deliveries. Of course, I'm against any arms deliveries to Israel, because here the situation is clear. Israel is a colonial militarist state, and it massacres Palestinians. There is no question here. But the situation is different with the Ukrainian war, because, of course, it is fed by arms production from both sides, and the two sides are, of course, not Russia and Ukraine, but Russia and the West. But if the weapons deliveries from the West to Ukraine stop, this doesn't mean that Russian weapons production is stopped, and it is very intensive now. It is actually very important for the for the Russian economy now. So I think here I would repeat that here the first thing is the problem of political settlement, the problem of negotiations. And I think this would be the first point that must be made, that that a settlement should be tried to achieve, that would be acceptable for all, more acceptable for the people. And then I maybe, and of course here I would like that, of course, the Ukrainian side must be heard, because it seems to me that often it is heard by ones and not heard by others, and this creates a very bad situation within the peace movement. So I would here I would call for a dialogue between people who are against the war from all the sides of these conflicts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Igor. I think with respect for the translators, interpreters who have done a fantastic job, we have to hand here, but only a very small, one sentence or something maybe from Janne.
Sí, muchas gracias. Bueno, gracias. Adelante,
Okay.
Jane.
Yeah, okay. A short one. I just a response for I can't remember the name, but the man who spoke before about Action Day. For me, the situation is very, very different if you compare today. I think he spoke about 2008. The situation worldwide, it's much more acute, climate, peace, and social justice, and so on. So my idea is perhaps the situation is different now.
Yeah.
So don't know. You have to decide. You are at World Social Forum and you can discuss it, but if it's possible, I think Action Day, but like Fridays for Future did, a day that comes around more times in such of a plan or something. Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Gracias por las sugerencias. Bueno, Paco, últimas palabras, porque ya estamos cerrando. Creo que podemos ir.
Yes, very.
Perdón, estaba Alfredo antes de Paco. Alfredo.
Perdono.
Alfredo, no sé si sigue aquí todavía. No, ya se fue. Adelante, Paco. Paco.
Okay. No, of course the situation is different, but just speaking in terms of organization, I'm not a Leninist, but the organization, then you can do what you want. I was with a guy like grandfather of the Friday for Future in Italy. So you have to work. You have to contact everybody. In this way, I say. Of course, it's the worst situation that 2008 was. We can say that we were in a, in a big. No, Janet, I just spoke. Maybe I was not just technical things. Organization, the base of the every kind of movement, party or of everything. Thank you. Excuse me. Ciao, ciao.
Muchas gracias, Paco. Bueno, junto con Thor y como parte de la Asamblea Social Mundial de Luchas y Resistencias, que somos un conjunto de organizaciones y movimientos globales y regionales, pues les invitamos a que se unan a la asamblea. Déjenos sus correos si no los anotaron en el chat para que les hagamos llegar la invitación, para que se registren a ser parte de la asamblea. Y esperamos que, como lo dijo Christine y como lo dijo Jane, no sé si así se pronuncia, es importante la articulación de los diferentes movimientos, luchas, y sobre todo, pues no permitir que nadie muera en una guerra, que se acaben las armas, que se acabe el militarismo en esos territorios, que se construya la paz con justicia y que no haya hambre, como lo estamos viviendo, que están compartiendo los compañeros tanto de Palestina como de Argentina o en otros territorios, que no proliferen las extremas derechas y que, bueno, que todos tengamos algo para comer. Entonces, no sé si Thor quieres decir algo y para también cerrar con un videíto de los mismos jornaleros del norte que se llama Sonríe.
I only say thank you to everyone and to the interpreters, of course, and thanks for your fantastic Rosie work just some hours before you leave for Kathmandu. It was very helpful, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Y yo mañana salgo para Kathmandu, todavía tengo otras reuniones y eventos, pero bueno, gracias a los intérpretes, gracias a todos los que vinieron, compartan esta iniciativa. Saludos, Paco. Voy a compartir este video que se llama Sonríe, que como lo decía alguien, pues tenemos que hacer esto con alegría también, desde la lucha. Y es un video de los jornaleros del norte, desde el corazón del imperio. Y bueno, muchas gracias por haber estado, gracias a los intérpretes. Y pues aquí lo dejamos el video.
Bye.
Jornaleros del Norte, y hoy honramos la dignidad de los pueblos que luchan para cambiar el mundo. Después de esta pandemia terrible que ha afectado a la humanidad y sobre todo a la clase trabajadora, debemos recuperar la sonrisa. Porque la sonrisa, al igual que la solidaridad, es la ternura de los pueblos. Para ustedes, sonríe.
No young people, never young people. Because the approach is young people are got it. They are. That is the approach. The way how.
Que brille tu dignidad y sonríe, sonríe, sonríe. No dejes de soñar tu lucha jornalera. La batalla ha empezado ya. Y sonríe, sonríe, sonríe. Levanta al sol. Tu lucha es tu voz. Armemos la revolución. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Giant Friday.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Never met her.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
That's what she is.
Regálame una sonrisa. Regálame que dure una eternidad. Contágiame las ganas que tienes de luchar. Jornalero, que vive mi vida. Y sonríe, sonríe, no dejes de soñar. Lucha, jornalero, la batalla empieza ahora. Y sonríe, 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 levanta tu cara al sol. Lucha es
Ten of them came to our summer.
tenemos la revolución.
I wasn't there, but
Because we do have it, we have to do that. Yeah, it's the time.
Sonríe y sigue luchando.
Like this thing, you don't go anywhere. Because it's a big, small group.
we had this actually 100
Well, it wasn't so this organization, where they are. As I say, where they are all these organizations, where they are, why they don't.
This was initiated by
We do with them. They come to the meeting and then just run behind them. You know, we do. We did. I involved them with
Stockholm 50. We had them. She was sitting in the audience too.
But the fact is,
Muchas gracias a todos. Nos vemos.
the first way to approach them is listen them.
Chao, chao.
When I went to the meeting,
Chao, chao,
we
muchas gracias.
We listen. Then they ask.
Gracias. Chao, chao.
To
Nos
tell the
vemos en
story of the
Kathmandu.
war.